Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be making a speech about the harmonisation of education systems, and during this speech I'll be referring to the three countries I've lived in: the United Kingdom, Portugal and Switzerland. I'd like to start now. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important areas in which Europe has harmonised is the area of education. I say it's important because we need comparable education systems and qualifications if we are to achieve the free movement of workers in Europe, because it's only by having comparable educational qualifications that there will be equal access to job opportunities in different countries. This harmonisation has been achieved to quite a large degree by the Bologna process, because what the Bologna process did is it established a harmonised structure for university courses whereby the first degree lasts for 6 semesters and an advanced degree or master's lasts for 4 semesters. The Bologna process also established the ECTS, the European Credit Transfer System, which allows European students to take part of their university course at a different university in a different country and get credit for the studies completed there. So it means to say that they can spend time away without jeopardising their progression towards obtaining their degree. And we all know this programme of student mobility, the Erasmus programme, has been one of the most outstanding successes of European integration and has done a great deal to foster a common European identity. However, I believe that whilst we've gone a long way towards harmonising education at the tertiary level, less has been done at the primary and secondary levels. Now, that's also quite important to now address, because when one thinks about it, students could be entering university at very different levels. And so this is something which could undermine the success of mobility programmes and also the comparability of university qualifications. So what I would like to do over the next couple of minutes is just address some of the glaring differences there are between European education systems at the primary and secondary levels. The first difference I would like to look at concerns the school starting age. For example, in the United Kingdom, children start school at the age of 5, and I'm sure that's true in a number of other European countries as well. In Portugal, children start school in the year in which they turn 6. So, for example, in the case of my youngest son, who was born on the 11th of January, he was supposed to start school in the month of September after his 6th birthday. That is to say, he would actually have been 6 years and 9 months old, i.e. closer to 7 than 6. However, he never actually started school in Portugal because 1 month before he was due to start, we moved to Switzerland. And when we arrived here, we found that children actually started school earlier, and so he went into a class in which all his new classmates had already learned to read, whereas he hadn't, despite being, in fact, the oldest member of the class. So that shows you one of the differences between primary school systems. And I think that many of these differences can actually be attributed to cultural or philosophical issues. There are some studies which show that early learning doesn't actually have any long-lasting effects on educational achievement, whereas there are other studies which claim that children's brains, when they're aged between 4 and 6, are particularly absorbent. So they suck up knowledge like sponges, and it's actually, if they are exposed to knowledge at those ages, then they will learn very, very quickly, and that's beneficial. At the end of the day, the differences could come down to a question of budget. Providing an extra year of schooling could be enough to break the bank in some countries. When it comes to secondary education, we can also see some equally glaring differences. Let's take my experience of secondary school education in the United Kingdom, for example. I attended a selective, single-sex state school, which means to say that I had to pass an entry exam to be admitted to the school. It was a school which was only for boys, although there was a twin girls' school just a mile down the road, yet it was a school which was publicly funded. It was a state school. And this is the kind of paradox which simply cannot exist in many European countries. Another significant difference concerns the curriculum. During my last 2 years of secondary education, for example, I studied only 3 subjects: French, Spanish and economics, whereas in the Swiss system, during the last 2 years of school, students will study 14 different subjects, all of which are examined and which will determine whether those students get a place at university or not. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of examples then of the very significant differences between education systems across Europe. And I'm sure that you could discover many more. Now, I don't think that we need to have one identical European education system, but I do think that we need to bring them closer together, because otherwise, as I said earlier on in my presentation, we won't be able to achieve the goal of harmonising higher education and making equal access to the job market in Europe a reality. Thank you very much for your attention.